Okay, so we're talking about animation cells, and CEL spelled C-E-L, short for celluloid. And this was how they used to make cartoons back in the day. They would hand draw everything, and you would take photographs of each of the scenes, and then you would put them together, much the way you look through the little spinning thing with the horses with the slits, and you see the horse running. Each frame had its own movement. So in this particular piece right here, this is a production cell, and what happens is you have the background, and then you have a separate piece of celluloid paper that the characters would be drawn on. So you keep the background, and then when you want to do the next frame, you presumably move the character closer or further. Sometimes the cell would just be of one additional drawing, one additional cell, or sometimes you would layer them. In the case of Disney, when they did Snow White running through the woods, they would stack many plates to create this illusion of 3D. But this right here is a typical celluloid for the G.I. Joe, and what they would call this is a production cell, meaning it was actually used in the production of the cartoon. So I believe that this is from the show Bazooka Saw a Sea Serpent, and the reason that it's a production cell was used in actually making the cartoon. So if you go to the cartoon and you watch it long enough, you'll see the exact scene the exact same way as the cell that you've collected. There are different things like collector cells, and I don't really have any to show you, but they're basically ones that somebody just hand drawn on a cell, and they'll say commemorative, or sometimes they don't tell you at all. They just try to sell you a Mickey Mouse cell that's technically on a celluloid paper, but it's not what's called a production cell. If you're going to be collecting, what you want is a production cell, meaning that it was actually used in the cartoon, and you can go find that particular cell and you'll know what that had come from. A lot of the stuff, when you go down to the Disney store, you'll see like a little stamp at the bottom, and it'll say, one of 5,000, especially if it says one of anything. It's not a production cell. If a production cell is obviously one of one. Now, you also have model cells, for instance, and what this does, this is an APC, again, G.I. Joe, and each character would have its model cell as well. And the reason that they did this is so that when the artist is drawing this item on the screen, that they can reference this. So if they have this vehicle in episode 2 and they want to put it in episode 8, it has to look identical all the time. So this is basically a reference cell for G.I. Joe for the APC. So from a collecting standpoint, reproduction cells are obviously nice to have. They're usually full-faced figures, so that you can see the entire face of the figure facing you, which a lot of people want. But the reproduction cells are obviously the least valuable. Next, least valuable would be these model cells. They aren't really used. I can't tell you if they're original one of one or not, but when you get a production cell that was actually used as seen in a show, then rest assured that is one of one artwork. Oh, also, a lot of times you may end up with a cell where there's just the person or vehicle or what have you without the background, and obviously there's a lot fewer backgrounds than there are actually of the cells that exist. This one has two guys parachuting. He might have just moved it down until he covered up the water, and that would have been a simple way to do it. But sometimes if they're running, you may have a character running, and they're gonna have several different poses of him, but only one one background in there. So it's hard to get the matching background. So this particular item is a matching production cell with a matching background. I have some, which I'll show you at another time, where they're a huge landscape shot, big storyboard, probably a couple times the length of this. The height would be the same, but they would be able to have one scene that they paint and they move that across as the character or the vehicle is driving. So I'll show you some of those at one point, but I just definitely wanted to show you the difference between a production cell and a cell in general, or a reproduction cell. And thank you for listening. As they always say, like and subscribe. At least just subscribe. If you don't like it, that's cool. Comments are always helpful. It gives you some good feedback of what people like to see, and if you want to comment on something you'd like to see that you may know I have in my collection or I don't, you know, drop that comment and I will get right on that. Thank you.